Have you wondered how to make these ogbenge standing hips? Hi guys, it's your girl Tekla, and today we'll be learning how you can make your dress to stand out. You see all these hip padding effects. Today we are going to learn how you can do this and infuse it into your dresses so that even the hips and the boots will stand out. If you're just coming to my channel, my name is Tekla, and on this channel we share tutorials for tailors, tutorials that can make you to stand out as a tailor, tutorials that are not just about tailoring and designing, but also on how you can move your fashion business to the next level. So without wasting your time, guys, let's move. So the measurements I'll be needing for this class is my waist measurement, my hip measurement, and then my knee measurement. For my waist measurement, I'm using 28 divided by 4, which is 7. Then I'm using the hip of 40 divided by 4, which is 10. Then for my knee measurement, I am going to leave it like this for now. I am urging you to pay full attention to this class so that you don't miss out anything when we are done, because I poured out my heart to this tutorial. So I need you to learn it so that your dresses can as well stand out. So the length that we'll be needing for this our hip pad. I know people ask questions like, if I'm adding hip pad, where does it stop? And sometimes we don't even know where it stops. So your hip pad can be 16 inches long, 17 inches long, 18 inches long, 19 inches long, depending on how tall the person is. So if I'm working for like a size 8, I can decide to make it 16 inches. And then if I'm working for like a size 10 now, I can decide to make it 17 inches. And then you just go on like that. So it depends on how tall your client is. If the person is like, the full length is like 50, you know that if you add 17, it will be longer than 8. So wherever you take your knee measurement, some people take their knee measurement 8 inches below their hip line. That is exactly where you are going to take your measurement. So for this particular tutorial that I'll be doing today, I am going to use the length of 17. That is, my waist to my knee is 17 inches. And this is what we are going to use to draft this particular tutorial. So guys, if this is the kind of thing you want to learn, please go ahead now and subscribe to our channel. Check out our advanced tutorials playlist. It's on our channel. You will learn a whole lot of things on tailoring and advanced tailoring. You will need it. Thank you. So for this my hip pad, I have my pattern paper, and my waist to my hip is 10 inches, and then I measured 17. Remember that the length of the hip pad that we are working with is 17 inches. And then the waist to hip that I'm using for now is 10 inches. This is just me trying to like mark out my lines very well. So this is my hip line. This is my knee line. Then on my waistline, remember that your hip pad cannot start directly on your waistline. I mean your high waist. So your hip pad must come in at least 1.5 inches below your normal waist. So that was just me coming down by 1.5 inches on my normal waist, and then I am going to go ahead and draw a line there. That is exactly where my hip pad is going to start. So even if I'm attaching this thing to my dress, I'm still going to go ahead and come down by that same 1.5 inch on my dress before putting it. Please, your hip pad can never start at your waistline. It must start 1.5 inch below your waist. It depends, some even 2 inches. I think 1 inch might be too small. I've used 1.5 inches over a long decade and it worked for me. So, and I'm 100% sure it's going to work for you as well. So I just put my waist, which was 7, my hip 10, and then I left my knee for now. Then on my waistline, I came in by about 3.5 inch, which I dotted. And then on my knee line, I came in by about 2 inches. You can just see me writing that out. So on my waistline, I came in by 3.5. and you can see why I am writing that out so that we are all on the same page. Please pay attention and make sure that you are following. And if you do not understand anything that we are doing, please go back and check it out and then follow up. Don't just be ghosting around. So I'm just going to connect from my hip to that place that I marked 3.5 inch on my waistline, on my new waistline, of course. Then I'm now going to go ahead and curve it to that place I marked 2 inches on my down part. And remember that this is under your bum bum that we are marking. So we are not going to have a straight line. I know people use straight line to curve it to their hip, but for me, I think it is very wrong. You know that your under your bum bum is not straight. It is not just slanted either. So we are trying to like give it that shape that is there. If you're on the floor and you're looking at a woman's body, you know that this is somehow how it looks from the boots to the laps, kind of. So that is why I'm not just doing it like a straight slant. I'm trying to like curve out the bum bum. You can see what I am doing exactly. And you can see that our hip pad is beginning to take shape. And please also know that this part that we are drafting now is the back pattern. This is the one that will be at the back. So on that same waistline, I came in by 1 inch, and on my knee line, I also came in by 1 inch on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it to my hip. You can see the way I am placing my curve ruler. I came in by 1 inch. That 1 inch, I'm going to go ahead and connect it to my waistline, to my hip line, sorry. Then I'm also going to go ahead and connect from my waistline to my hip line. And that is going to give me like my hip line curve. You know that from your waist to your knee or to your hip is not straight on the side parts. So this is just me curving it out. Then also know that some people try to just connect from that 1 inch that I came into directly to their hip line and also curve the other way. For me, I think this is totally wrong. So what I'll do is that from that place that I came in by 1 inch, I am just going to curve it to give it a very nice curve. You can see the way it is looking. You can see how I curved it. So I'm advising you to at least not just do it slanted like that. It's not really giving the shape of a boot or something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and then cut out this side at the moment. I'm going to cut out so that at least you can see that our hip pad is beginning to take shape. So from here, we are going to move over to the front part. Remember that the part that we cut out is the back part. Normally, you cut out the front part of a clothes, but we started from the back. So for the front of this hip pad, we are going to take the same measurements that we took for the back parts. Please, if I should misplace front and back, just know that this place I'm cutting now is the front part. This is the part that will be in the front and will be on your front laps, kind of. So I came down by 1.5 inch as usual, and then I marked my hip line, which is my waist to hip. I used 10 inches for my waist to hip, and then my knee line, which is 17 inches. Remember that the length of the hip pad that we are using is 17 inches. So I just went ahead to now label it waist, hip, and then knee. So guys, if you're enjoying this video, go ahead now and like this video. And then if this is the kind of tutorials you want to be seeing often, I advise you to hit the subscribe button now. You don't need to miss out on us. And then to get my front measurement or my front width, I'm going to divide that 10 inches I have on my hip by 2. 10 inches divided by 2 is 5. So I'm now going to come to my hip and mark that 5 inches. And then I will take out that same 1 inches that I have on my waist and then on my knee as well. Then I am going to use my curved ruler to connect it together. You can see what I am doing. Please pay attention. So I'll just connect from that 1 inch to my hip line, and then I'm also going to go ahead and connect from that waist to my hip line as well. And remember that this part that I am curving now is the part that you are going to join together. That is like your hip line. Then this other part that I'm trying to manipulate now is the part that is going to come out at the middle part of your skirt or your dress. So I just came in by about 1 inch from that place. I marked 1 inch and then I curved it to my hip line. You can see what I did. Then I also came in by about one inch exactly on the other part and then curved it to my hip line as well. So I'm just trying to like use my curved ruler to get a very nice curve. Then I'm just going to go ahead and curve this out. You can see what I'm doing. I personally do not like my own being sharp at the tip. So that is why I do this. I know that people start just from the tip to curve, but I prefer mine like this because I know that your body is not that sharp kind of. So you can see that I label this top and down. Please don't make the mistake of not labeling it because you are going to get confused on which part is the up and which part is the down. So please make sure to label your own. Be sure to add that labeling. So you can see how I did cut it out as well. I'm going to now go ahead and cut out that curve I have on the side. Please remember to cut that curve because if you don't curve it, your hip pad is not going to sit in your hip. It is not going to sit. So from here, I am going to show you how you are going to cut this out on your foam. And then I'm also going to show you the type of foam that you use for this hip padding and how to manipulate the foam and then get it to be exactly the same way it should be on your hip. So this is just me cutting out the remaining part of the front pattern. So I guess you don't want to miss out on that. And please, if you have enjoyed this video so far, please go ahead now to give us a thumbs up, comment your thoughts on the comment section, and if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button right away so that you don't get to miss out on all our upcoming videos. And then you can also check our playlist, the advanced playlist on our channel, where you find all the other advanced tutorials that we have done that will help in your sewing career as well. Also know that this particular place now that is big is the back pattern or the boots. Like this is the part that goes to the back and then the smaller part comes to the front because the front part is small. So please note these differences. You can see the way it is looking. So that small part is the front and then the big part is the back. So I just went ahead to label it. And one trick about this thing is that if you are joining it together, if you are joining the foam, you are going to keep the front part on top of the back while joining the first one, and then you are going to keep the back part on top of the front while joining the second one. But I hope you are not confused. Just pay attention and you will understand. So now that we have drafted this thing, all you need to do is just to put it on your foam and cut it out exactly the same way it is. You can decide to add 1/4 of an inch as your sewing allowance so it doesn't shorten. But even if you don't add it, this will already do for your hip pad. So you can see that this hip pad, I didn't draft only one. I drafted both of them because I know how essential it is for you to know how to join it. If you don't join it well, at the end of the day, you realize that you have the same side. It's just like when you're cutting your bustier and you cut the pad the same way. If you don't join it right, you are going to have exactly the same thing. So you need to put it just the way you do your pad so that one will be the left and the other will be the right. So just pay attention and you see the explanation I'm going to give and also how you can trim out your foam and the kind of foam that you'll be using to get the perfect hip curve. So you can see that to join this one, I had to place the back on the front. And to join the other one, I had to place the front on the back. If you just get these tips now, you won't make any mistake. The first one, the front has to be on top of the back while you are sewing on your sewing machine. And the second one has to be vice versa. So this particular foam I have here is 1/2 inch foam. Like is 1/2 inch foam. So where you can get this place is in places where they are selling naked foam. You know all these naked foam shops. That is where you can get this foam. Just tell them you are looking for 1/2 inch. They also have 1/4 of an inch. They also have 1/2 inch and they have 1 inch as well. If you want your hip pad to be so outstanding, you can use 1 inch. This particular one I have here is 1/2 inch and it gives me everything I want. And then if I have clients that don't even like hip padding at all, I just use 1/4 inch. that is the one that is less than this one to add in their clothes. Sometimes they don't even know. They'll just be screaming, Tekla, my dress is so nice. They don't know there's a small foam that is adding to the structure and all of that. So if you have a client that doesn't like hip pad or hip foam, let it just be your standard of sewing. You just add the small one that they won't even notice. And then if the person wants hip pad but they don't want it so much noticeable, this ½ inch is the right one to use. And then if they want it exaggerated, you just use the bigger one. So you can see the way I'm placing my scissors to trim this foam. Now you are going to do it exactly this way all round, and the part you are doing it is in the inside of the foam. I'm just trimming it round. You can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing around this foam, and then if you are doing it, also do it on the big part of the foam. My foam is not enough, so I'll just be showing you with this smaller one. So you can see that I have already done this off camera, just not to prolong this video. You can see how I am trimming it. It's so fast and so easy, and there's nothing hard about it. And then you can see what I have. I just went ahead to put that T there, so I will know that this is exactly the top part of my foam, so I don't make any mistake along the line. Then I'm going to introduce the back part to show you how this thing is going to be. So I am assuming that this is your foam and you've already trimmed the inside the same way that I trimmed the inside of the front part. So you are going to join at this particular place now that I'm showing you. You are going to use 3/4 inch to join on your machine, as if you are joining gathers. Or some people use needle and thread to just join it. And after joining it, this is what you have. And obviously, this is going to be the left part of the hip. If you place it, if this other side goes to the back, the other side comes to the front. So the smaller one goes to the front as well, and this is going to be the left part of your hip. Then you do the same thing on the other one, and then that place that you joined it together, if you are attaching it to your dress, please remember to come down by at least 1.5 inch from your lace or from your Ankara fabric or wherever you are attaching this hip pad. Please don't start from your waist to attach it. Always come down by 1.5 inch so that you do not miss out on anything. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop your comments. I'm happy to must have made it for you. And if you are willing to get more of this kind of tutorials, do not forget to subscribe. See you in my next video, guys. I can't wait to have you. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye.